The only one of the home nations not to reach the World Cup finals. They were playing Finland in Helsinki in their opening match in Group 6. Now a great start for Finland. They took the lead after just 10 minutes. Ari Helm, the scorer, following that corner on the left. Finland a pretty tough proposition, unbeaten at home in their 4 World Cup qualifying matches. Good early start for them. But Wales didn't lose their nerve. They held them and equalised after 66 minutes. The scorer there, Neil Slatter of Oxford. Now the defender had come on in place of David Williams and made his mark with the equaliser for Wales. 1-1 the final score. Mike England said they were happy with the draw. Now the Republic of Ireland were behind very early on against Belgium in Brussels. Scorer after 14 minutes there was Klesson. And really a match of headers, and coming up a superb one to equalise for the Republic from Frank Stapleton. That came in the 18th minute, and it's the first international, remember, being played in the Heysel Stadium since that European Cup final tragedy. Great goal that from Frank Stapleton. But here's an even better one. Enzo Schifo's header, restoring the Belgian lead with 19 minutes to go. Tireless performance from the Belgian midfielder, and he appeared there to have been rewarded with the winner. But then into injury time, and Frank Stapleton breaking clear and brought down by the Belgian goalkeeper Jean-Marie Pfaff. Certain amount of disgust on the Belgian bench, but the Romanian referee had no doubt about the penalty. Liam Brady stepped forward to make it Belgium 2, Republic of Ireland 2. Now also in Group 7, Scotland were playing their first match under new manager Andy Roxburgh. The opponents at Hampden Park tonight were Bulgaria, and the commentator is Archie McPherson.
McStay to Aiken. There's Richard Goff, a beautiful pass by Aiken. Oh, Nicholas is on his own. Here's Cooper. There's a shot, brilliantly saved. And that was simply bad football by Scotland. That's 2 quite shocking passes by Gordon Strachan. It's very unlike him, and there's almost a gift. Oh! And that was a gift as well, virtually, from the Scottish defence. Sirakop it was. Well, it looked to me as if the Scottish defence had looked quite stunned. Well, forced into pushing it back again and totally lost the initiative. Nicholas, nice bit of skill, that. Superb play, Richard Goff. Across it goes, and brilliantly saved by Mikhailov. Cooper now on the right. Miller. Goff to Cooper. Brilliant touch by Cooper. Here's a great chance. It must be yes. No. Oh, superb play by Cooper. That beautiful balance he has, gliding it forward, and McStay using the outside of his foot. That's a sub. Oof, flicked away by McStay. Simply had to get that touch. Bulgarian players right in behind him. Brilliantly saved by Leighton, and that was an excellent move by the Balkans again. Playing that about with pace. They really did look menacing that time. Superb one-touch football, and the finish, Leighton was right behind.
For the opening tie of the European campaign, the Soviets played badly. In Iceland, the forwards are off target and the defence in disarray. As a surprised but delighted Arnold Gudjohnsen discovers. it can't last. Icelandic luck runs out almost on the stroke of half-time. A shot by Sulak Validze is deflected beyond the keeper. To a bad start in Brussels, conceding this goal to Nico Klaassen after a Frankie Verkouteren corner. In the past, it's away form which has let the Irish down. Not anymore. A diving header from Frank Stapleton catches goalkeeper Faf unsighted. In the second half, Belgium break to put pressure on goalkeeper Pat Bonner. That pressure is rewarded when Enzo Schifo heads home. Victory for Belgium appears secure. In the last minute, Stapleton breaks away and is brought down by Faf. Liam Brady tucks away the equalising penalty to the dismay of Belgium's manager, Guy Thys.
Not John Helm.
Not the John Helm, no.
Yeah.
Maybe a relation, of course.
Yeah.
But, you know, as I say, a fighting display by the Welshman, and Slater, late substitute, coming in there and banging one in. So, and
they went one up, the Belgians.
And Klaassen scoring there.
When you think they had a great World Cup, it was an exceptionally good result for Ireland, wasn't it?
It was.
Because Belgium at one time looked unbeatable.
Good diving header there by Stapleton. United fans will be hoping.
Did he dive or did he fall?
Beautiful header there.
Yeah.
Wasn't it, by Schifo?
Yeah,
what a good player he is. But here's the penalty in the last minute. Whoop, on the edge of the box.
I don't think you could argue much with it, Ian. I think the goalkeeper knew what he was doing. And up comes Chipper, who don't chip it, he slides it.
Yeah.
Chipper Brady. Nice one. Big Jack's had a transplant. Or is that the...
Overran Austria 4-0. The first goal from Stefan Jovan, one of 8 players from the European Cup winners, Steaua Bucharest. Into the second half now. Austria's defending was suspect throughout the match, and it's Jovan left with a simple opening for his and Romania's second goal. A minute later, Kamataru crudely felled by goalkeeper Klaus Lindenberger. The incident ruled outside the area, but it hardly mattered for the Romanians. Marius Lakatush with a spectacular shot. Austria now in some disarray. Players committed forward, Lakatush away on the right. And making a perceptive run into the middle, Georgi Hagi, who finishes in style. Romania 4, Austria 0. Denmark were also in midweek action in a friendly against East Germany. Great work here by John Severbeck of Manchester United. The cross met splendidly by Johnny Eriksson for the only goal of the game. Denmark, who are in the same group as Wales, warming up for their European campaign. Czechoslovakia in the red shirts are also in that Wales group, Group 6, and they too won a friendly in midweek. Ivo Knoflicek of Slavia Prague with the goal that beat Holland.
Here from halfway.
Yeah.
A lot of the English clubs are looking at him, I believe, you know, Liverpool, Man U, and it could well be, Jim, they've missed out because I gather that he's going to Italy.
He's gone to Italy, that's right, yeah. He's a good player. I mean, they are a good side. You can see the way they move the ball about.
Sure. I mean, that's a very opportunist goal, isn't it? You know, typical striker's goal.
Nice ball through the middle. No.
In Gijón, midfield player Francisco, set up by Emilio Butragueño, was on target 4 minutes later, and Spain were never in trouble. Victor from Barcelona tapped in the third, 11 minutes from time. But the best goal of the night came from Greece. This superbly struck shot from Skartados. In the European Championship Group 3, Iceland in blue scored first against the Soviet Union. A mistake by that excellent left-back Demyanenko. Arno Gudjonsson of Anderlecht with the goal that stood despite appeals for handball. Iceland might even have won, but for a mistake just before half-time by goalkeeper Bjarni Sigurdsson. Sulak Validze's shot sneaks past him. Iceland won, the Soviet Union won.
Ekstrom is a very, very useful player.
He is indeed.
You know, this is him going through here from halfway.
Yeah.
A lot of the English clubs are looking at him, I believe, you know, Liverpool, Man U, and it could well be, Jim, they've missed out because I gather that he's going to Italy.
He's gone to Italy, that's right, yeah. He's a good player. I mean, they are a good side. You can see the way they move the ball about.
Sure. I mean, that's a very opportunist goal, isn't it? You know, typical striker's goal.
Nice ball through the middle, nice.
He demonstrated the all-round nature of his game to devastating effect in a friendly against Denmark. Rudi Völler crosses, Ton heads past Ole Quist. Then a similar combination. Völler is again in possession, Ton arrives unnoticed, nods down for Alofs to score.
Arnor Gudjonsson's goal for Iceland was hardly in Ekstrom's class, but it certainly bothered the Soviet Union side and proved once again that journeys to Reykjavik are far from easy. The Soviets, though, like the French before them, did manage to come away with a point, the equaliser just before half-time coming from Sulak Velidze.
Alan Simonsen bowed out of international football after 20 minutes of Denmark's friendly with West Germany. Almost at once, the Germans, with only 5 survivors from the World Cup final, took charge. Fuller makes room for his cross, and little Olaf Thon heads in. Just before half-time, Rudi Völler finds another good cross for Ton's head, and this time he knocks it back and Klaus Alofs strikes the shot in low. Spain continued in impressive form against Greece, even though they guarded their goal as though it were the Acropolis. Salinas was the scorer, but it was the back heel from Francisco that created the opening. 4 minutes later, Francisco himself was the scorer, and Spain were firmly in charge. Their third goal followed a Goicoechea free kick, too fierce for Plitzis to hold, and Victor collected one of the easiest goals he'll ever score. By that stage, a Greek reply did hardly anything for their pride, good though the goal was. Even Skartaros himself couldn't muster a great deal of excitement after this tremendous shot. It ended Spain 3, Greece 1.
Against reigning European champions France and Paris, chances are wasted at both ends. Michel Platini's Frenchmen have lost their sparkle. In the second half, the Soviets beat the inexperienced defenders for Belanov to open the scoring. Goalkeeper Bats can only delay the inevitable. Zavarov finds space on the left and Rats finishes. France are beaten 2-0. The Soviets lead the group.
Watson's in, Butcher's there, and Lineker's also there. And Gary Lineker puts England ahead after 33 minutes. Hodge, that's a nice break. Good save by Hughes. Beardsley, deflection, and driven in by Chris Waddle. There are 10 minutes left here. England lead 2-0, and Glenn Hoddle is in there again. And there goes Lineker. That's a lovely effort and a fine goal, beautifully taken. And the Beardsley Lineker.
Stapleton Langham. Well, there's nobody inside for Ireland, that is. Good play. Strachan to Johnston, offside. Yeah, about a yard in it. Aiken. Whipped away by McGrath. Nobody knows where it is. Looking around for it. Oh, McGrath. Brilliant play. Houghton. Hesitation again by Leighton. And McGrath, on a normal Saturday, he would have got a drop goal for that. But the Irish crowd at least delighted by the attitude, the determination. Little bit of niggle there. And it's a free kick to Scotland. And the Scottish players clustering on the left side of the penalty area. Stewart. Taken by Murdo McLeod. Real cluster of players. Strachan with the shot. And it's all snatched. Easy enough to criticise an effort like that when you're sitting in the stand, but the Irish defence were rushing hard towards them, and they are big lads. Stewart to the foresight to get forward in that. It's a hesitant header. Aldridge. Oh, a good run by Aldridge, and straight towards the face of Jim Leighton. All emanating from that hesitation. And there he was, wanting to take the man on, and suddenly went between them. And that was the difficulty of the angle for him, and Leighton clutched that confidently. McStay. Paula McGrath winning that, and Kevin Sheedy. Beautiful through ball. Appeals for a penalty, not given. But Scotland were taken apart through the middle there. Suddenly the gap had appeared. There's Goff, well underneath it. And Strachan and Stapleton, teammates, know each other inside out, as it were. Well, you can hear the grumbles of discontent around the terracings at that decision. Houghton won't get that. Oh, slack one by McLeod. McGrath. Houghton. There's Leighton again. Sheedy off the line by Hansen. A brilliant line save by Hansen. Scotland really under pressure on the goalkeeper. Stamping his authority in the penalty area. Houghton on the right. He provided the initial danger with that tantalising cross. The ball breaking loose. And there was Sheedy firing it almost certainly into the net. But for the head of Alan Hansen. Solid header there by Murdo McLeod. There's a run by Houghton again, and Murdo McLeod totally taken on. Another corner kick. Corner to the Republic, and yet again Murdo McLeod beaten by that ball. Houghton has been doing that regularly from the start of the game. It's wider this time. Hansen, head touch. Sheedy, there's the cross I was speaking about. Brady. Touch forward there, there's McGrath. Excellent move there by the Republic. And the pass is beginning to flow from Brady. There's Mr. Charlton, MBE. Delightful man, lovely personality. He could also pick you up by his one arm and throw you through the window if necessary. He's a very tough and uncompromising individual. Look at that. Brady, magnificent. Langan. Leighton under pressure, and he did that excellently. Having a very good second half. Really harassing Scotland in midfield. Well, there's a brilliant ball forward. Sheedy slipping. Appeals for a penalty again. Langan screaming at the referee. And Sheedy, of whom we've seen very little in this game, might just have won it for the Irish there. Carving his way through the Scottish defence. Now Brady. Lots of room in midfield as Langan comes forward. Houghton. This has been the generalissimo of this side. Stabbing it around with that left foot of his. A test for Leighton again. And it's over. Stapleton. And Leighton is incensed. Feeling he was fouled as he went for the ball. Whether he was or not, that was certainly falling in the path of Stapleton. There was the challenge on him, and I think he was pulled slightly from the back as Stapleton, fastening onto it, sends it way over.
Semi-finalists attacked Luxembourg from the start, and within 6 minutes had rid themselves of any nerves. The talented Enzo Schifo created the danger, lashing in a left-foot shot which fell nicely into the path of Eric Gerrits. 3 minutes later, De Mol made a clever interception, waited for Vercauteren to support him, and the clinical final pass from the Belgium number 6 was tucked away quite beautifully by Spurs new boy Nico Klaassen. 2-0 to Belgium and 3 before half-time. Vercauteren was involved here in the build-up, continued his run forward, and when Klaassen lobbed the ball square, finished the move off. Luxembourg 0, Belgium 3 at the interval, and 8 minutes into the second half, Klaassen again showed the finishing skills which appealed to Tottenham manager David Pleat. 2 bounces and what a finish inside the near post. Credit Luxembourg for not giving up. Malget's pass here, Schonkert's shot, and Muneron makes a fine save. Muneron in goal in place of Jean-Marie Pfaff. Belgium's 5th goal coming up, substitute Groen's cross, and Jan Koeleman shows he's still deadly in the air. That was in the 88th minute, but there was a 6th still to come. Erwin van den Berg is pulled down by Schonkert, and from the penalty spot, Nico Klaassen completes his hat-trick. Luxembourg 0, Belgium 6.
6-0 to Belgium, who lead Group 7, 3 points from 2 games. The Republic of Ireland and Scotland both have 2 from 2, and Scotland's next match at home to Luxembourg on November the 12th.
Will find reigning champions France on the bottom after 2 games with just 1 point gained from a goalless draw in Iceland. On top with 3 points, the Soviet Union side who beat France in Paris at the weekend. The 2 goals which inflicted upon France their first home defeat in 21 matches both came in the second half. And the goal scorers' names are familiar. Little Igor Belanov, scorer of 4 goals in the World Cup finals, got the first there. That was in the 63rd minute. And 11 minutes later, Vasily Rats, yes, the man who scored that spectacular goal in the 1-1 draw against France in Mexico, had an easier task in Paris to leave a final scoreline, France 0, the Soviet Union 2. Now to tonight's Group 1 game between Austria and Albania. Austria were keen to put behind them last month's 4-0 opening game defeat by Romania, and this goal by Andris Ogris after 80 minutes put them on the way to a comfortable win. It was a quality goal from a player making his international debut. Ogris creating half a yard of space and shooting across the keeper into the far corner. Just as spectacular, Austria's second goal in the 65th minute, a free kick from Tony Polster, bent around the wall and into the top corner. Platini and Hoddle would have been proud of that one, but Austrian manager Branko Elsner would be happy enough to know that his team had now secured only their 3rd win in 11 matches under him. 2-0 to Austria, and coming up 13 minutes from the end, number 3. Albania lose possession and Austria are quick to make the most of the opportunity. Manfred Lindsmeyer delicately chipping the keeper. Austria 3, Albania 0, the scoreline at the end. Budapest was the venue for the Group 5 game between Hungary and Holland, and Hungary, rebuilt under new manager Imre Kamara, were lucky to survive this moment when Van Basten's effort hit the bar and appeared to cross the line. The referee and linesman thought differently, although the replay suggests that the hole of the ball was definitely behind the goal line. Disappointment for Van Basten there, but joy later, and no escape for Hungary in the second half, as Wouters found Gullit, and the close control of Holland's number 10 took him wide of the keeper, Zendri, before pulling the ball back for Van Basten's. And that's how it finished. Hungary 0, Holland 1, with Dutch manager Rinus Michels, remember him from 1974, happier, I'm sure, than he looked. On to Group 6 and Czechoslovakia versus Finland. The visitors had a man carried off and another sent off in this game. But coming up, Czechoslovakia's opening goal after 37 minutes, veteran winger Janeka, the scorer. Finland's Valvi was then sent off, but they still battled well before Czechoslovakia grabbed a second. A spectacular strike, this one, from Ivo Novlicek. 2-0 to Czechoslovakia, and now the third, as right-back Levy finds Kula sliding in towards the 6-yard box. Czechoslovakia 3. Finland 0. So Czechoslovakia go top after their first game. Wales, also in this group, remember, remain second, but much fancied Denmark have yet to play. In Group 5, which began tonight with a 2-1 win for Poland against Greece, both their goals penalties, incidentally, and it puts them at the top with Holland in second place.
Wouters, die nu regelmatig over Detari heen gaat. En Gullit vindt. Gullit, daar is hij. Ja hoor, dat wordt het doelpunt, of niet? Ja, Van Basten. Hij zit erin en verdiend. Knap van Wouters, Ruud Gullit en Marco van Basten. Daar zaten we op te wachten. Dik en dik verdiend. De voorsprong van het Nederlandse elftal in de 22e minuut van de tweede helft. Nou, dat mag best een lachje af voor Michels. Kijk maar naar Wouters, die heel goed met de buitenkant van de schoen Gullit vindt. Gullit achter Cardos langs. Passeert Zendrij. En dan had hij zelf al kunnen scoren, naar mijn idee. Maar het is niet zelfzuchtig. Laat het karwei aan de man die het af kan maken. Marco van Basten.
Dit is dus de stand in groep 5. Nederland, Polen, Griekenland, Hongarije en Cyprus.
Predominantly a young side now. Bobby Robson was there and will surely have noted the scoring prowess of Zalto Vujovic, the Yugoslavia number 11. They're in white, of course. Will England play Yugoslavia in 2 weeks' time at Wembley? Northern Ireland play Turkey the same day. Here's Vujovic again, but a real gift from the Turks, who really hate playing under floodlights. That's when the Irish go there in a fortnight's time. It's an afternoon kick-off. Well, Vujovic turned provider for Yugoslavia's third. A teasing cross, wasn't it, for Savicevic to score. Well, Vujovic's hat-trick 6 minutes from time. This one, a sharp near-post header, put them on top of Group 4 on goal difference. They're the favourites to qualify. They beat Finland in Copenhagen, but only 1-0. The Danes, without the injured Elkjær and Laudrup, scrambled the winner after 67 minutes through Jens Jorn Bertelsen, a shot which took a deflection. Well, the Russians are always worth watching. They're in Group 3. They met Norway tonight, and how about that from Gennady Litovchenko? They won 4-0. We're just going to show you the two best goals. That's the World Cup star Igor Belanov providing the cross for 34-year-old veteran Oleg Blokhin to celebrate his 104th cap. Now to Group 2, where the Swiss met Portugal. Georges Brizy, whose goal put Aberdeen out of Europe, scored that tremendous goal for the Swiss after 6 minutes. But Portugal, with an entirely new side, that's because of that pay strike just before the World Cup finals. You might remember that. Equalised with a little back heel from Adeo, 1-1. Well, there's a familiar figure, West Germany's manager Franz Beckenbauer, who watched an experimental side go down 4-1 in a not-so-friendly friendly in Austria. No love lost there. Austria's two best goals coming from Reinhard Kienast. And that's what it means for Austria when they do well against the Germans. Kienast, a rapid Vienna midfielder, winning his 11th cap. His second and Austria's fourth, a really sharp header after 75 minutes. Austria getting all their goals, the other two penalties in an 18-minute spell.
Bobby Robson was in Split to watch Yugoslavia open their Group 4 programme against Turkey. Zlatko Vujovic, one of the twins who both now play in France, scoring after the defence had been opened up for him. Well, that was after 25 minutes, and 9 minutes later, a costly slip by Yusuf, Zlatko Vujovic pouncing again. Turkey weren't really put to the sword until the last 15 minutes, with number 14 Tuce now on. Some crisp interpassing, and it's Dejan Savicevic making it 3-0 to Yugoslavia. Tuce really did make an impact, and he crossed for the 28-year-old Vujovic to complete his hat-trick. 21 goals for him in 47 internationals, a proven goal scorer to keep England's defenders alert at Wembley. Denmark, on the other hand, made a slower start to their Group 6 campaign. Remember, that's the group which includes Wales. The Danes at home to Finland without injured strikers Elkjær and Laudrup. And it was that hard-working midfield player, Jens Jorn Bertelsen, who took the limelight this time, scrambling in Denmark's winner after 67 minutes. Group 3, the Soviet Union continued their advance with Litovchenko striking from long range against Norway. A penalty extended that lead. Igor Bielanov, you'll remember him from the World Cup, pushed in the back. And Bielanov, who plays for Dynamo Kiev against Celtic next week, scoring himself from the spot. Still only 33 minutes gone, and Kiev's most famous footballing son, Oleg Blokhin, still able to make a contribution at international level at the age of 35. Norway certainly no match for the Soviets, and Hidiatulin's shot deflected past a despairing goalkeeper. The Soviet Union 4, Norway 0.
They beat Finland in Copenhagen, but only 1-0. The Danes, without the injured Elkjær and Laudrup, scrambled the winner after 67 minutes through Jens Jorn Bertelsen, a shot which took a deflection. Well, the Russians are always worth watching. They're in Group 3. They met Norway tonight, and how about that from Gennady Litovchenko? They won 4-0. We're just going to show you the two best goals. That's the World Cup star Igor Bielanov providing the cross for 34-year-old veteran Oleg Blokhin to celebrate his 104th cap. Now to Group 2, where the Swiss met Portugal. Georges Brizzi, whose goal put Aberdeen out of Europe, scored that tremendous goal for the Swiss after 6 minutes. But Portugal, with an entirely new side, that's because of that pay strike just before the World Cup finals, you might remember that, equalised with a little back heel from Adeo, 1-1. Well, there's a familiar figure, West Germany's manager Franz Beckenbauer, who watched an experimental side go down 4-1 in a not-so-friendly in Austria. No love lost there. Austria's two best goals coming from Reinhard Kienast. And that's what it means for Austria when they do well against the Germans. Kienast, a rapid Vienna midfielder, winning his 11th cap. His second and Austria's fourth, a really sharp header after 75 minutes. Austria getting all their goals, the other two penalties in an 18-minute spell.
Turkey went to Split and fell apart. After 25 goalless minutes, their concentration collapsed, and Zlatko Vujovic set about helping himself to a hat-trick. That was number 1. No doubt Bobby Robson made some useful notes, but the obvious lesson seems to be that Yugoslavia will punish sloppy defenders. Goal number 2 for Vujovic, who surely can't find scoring as easy as this when he plays in the French league for Bordeaux. In the second half, the Yugoslavs showed some nice approach play, which eventually allowed Vujovic time to wonder where the right back had gone before setting up a goal for Sliskovic. Like Robson, Yugoslavia's coach Ivica Ozim would probably have hoped to learn a bit more about his reshaped side, but he'll be pleased that Vujovic's third goal was enough to give them leadership of Group 4 on goal difference.
Yes, there's confirmation of what Jerry was mentioning, a win that puts Yugoslavia on top of Group 4 on goal difference, one better than England. And talking of goals, one of the men pressing very strongly
They had few illusions about their task against the Soviet Union. If they had, Gennady Litovchenko's shot from a free kick soon punctured them. Interestingly, there were only 6 Dynamo Kiev best players in the starting lineup, but it was one of their stars, Igor Belanov, who was the central figure in the second goal when he was fouled for a penalty. Not the most obvious of offences, this nudge in the back, but on second viewing it looks as though referee Howard King from Merthyr Tydfil spotted it correctly. Whether Bo Riise in Norway's goal saw Belanov's spot kick is another question. Then Belanov's pace and control unzipped the right flank of Norway's defence, and Oleg Blokhin added a 38th goal to his distinguished international career. One more to come, and in spite of the Norwegian wall, Vadim Kidiatulin makes it USSR 4, Norway 0. Elsewhere in this group, more ammunition for the advocates of the long ball. East Germany's Andreas Thun chases, collects and scores. Iceland 1 down. In the second half, Thun, who's only 21 and a player to note for the future, wrong-foots 2 defenders and delivers the perfect pass for Kirsten to complete the victory. In Group 6, Denmark didn't dazzle Finland, but with Elkjær and Laudrup injured, Berggren and Olsen suspended, their resources were somewhat stretched. 1 goal was all they could muster, and even then Jens Jorn Bertelsen needed the help of a deflection. No comfort, though, for Kari Laukkanen, who'd made some fine saves for Finland. Switzerland had home advantage against Portugal in Group 2 and the boost of an early goal. Heinz Hermann brought down, Georges Bregi puts away the free kick. That lasted until 4 minutes from time. And then the goalkeeper's clearance from a deep cross is returned first time by Adao, and Manuel Fernandez gets a flick with his heel. Lucky maybe, but worth a point. In Vienna, Austria and West Germany played a friendly that was refereed by Luigi Agnolin of Italy, a man who likes to be known as the player's friend. But the Germans felt he was anything but friendly in punishing Olaf Thun for handball. Tony Polster was equally unsympathetic from the spot. Nor was it much consolation for Germany to score the best goal of the match. Lothar Matthäus, confident and classy on the ball, and then precise with his centre for Rudi Voller's headed equaliser. Almost at once, Polster and Wolfgang Funkel found themselves entangling legs, and the player's friend dished out another penalty. Franz Beckenbauer said afterwards, Agnolin should be taken out of circulation. The greatest mistake a referee can make is to hog the limelight, and that's exactly what Agnolin did. But Polster took his share too, claiming his second goal with emphasis. From here on, it was all downhill for Germany. Matthäus sent off for dissent, a third goal scored by Gerald Piesinger, and Austria were on their way to only their second victory over their arch-rivals since the war. The last bar was taken by Reinhard Kienast, whose first-time shot confirmed Austria's superiority. Collects and scores. Iceland 1 down. In the second half, Thun, who's only 21 and a player to note for the future, wrong-foots 2 defenders and delivers the perfect pass for Kirsten to complete the victory. Agnolin of Italy, a man who likes to be known as the player's friend. But the Germans felt he was anything but friendly in punishing Olaf Thun for handball. Tony Polster was equally unsympathetic from the spot. Nor was it much consolation for Germany to score the best goal of the match. Lothar Matthäus, confident and classy on the ball, and then precise with his centre for Rudi Voller's headed equaliser. Almost at once, Polster and Wolfgang Funkel found themselves entangling legs, and the player's friend dished out another penalty. Franz Beckenbauer said afterwards, Agnolin should be taken out of circulation. The greatest mistake a referee can make is to hog the limelight, and that's exactly what Agnolin did. But Polster took his share too, claiming his second goal with emphasis. From here on, it was all downhill for Germany. Matthäus sent off for dissent, a third goal scored by Gerald Piesinger, and Austria were on their way to only their second victory over their arch-rivals since the war. The last bar was taken by Reinhard Kienast, whose first-time shot confirmed Austria's superiority.
Never an easy place to go. The state of the pitch not up to international standard. The crowd not exactly friendly. And Northern Ireland in their famous green shirts at the start of what Billy Bingham says could be a 2-year rebuilding programme. But after a tentative start, they began to find some cohesion. David Campbell, Nottingham Forest, who played against Brazil in the World Cup, setting up Jimmy Quinn of Blackburn Rovers. For the past 6 years, Northern Ireland have relied on the experience of a handful of seasoned internationals who provided the foundation for all they've achieved. Everything's relative in football. 2 successive World Cups for the Irish is equivalent to Argentina winning the tournament. But those names have gone now. Jennings, O'Neill, McIlroy, Armstrong, and it showed at times. But the likes of little David McCreary, John McClellan at the back, and the spirit of the Irish, oh, Billy Bingham hates that expression, made up for the absentees who've been pensioned off and their injured stars like Jimmy Nicholl and Norman Whiteside. And Bingham was full of praise for Pat Jennings' successor, Phil Hughes of Bury, a fingertip save in the closing stages.
1986 has been Gary Lineker's year, and on Wednesday his presence helped attract a 60,000 crowd to Wembley for what was an eventful night.
Valic, the fullback, aiming to make something on the break all the time. Vojovic there. Oh, and he's got past Mark Wright. There's a great hurdle here for England, but Woods did well. It's the height of Butcher. Height of the England captain. Indeed it's not. It's the number 7, Gary Mabbutt. Been in good form tonight, Hoddle. Another delightful ball played in for Beardsley. Played for Waddle. And a good cross from him this time. And Anderson makes it 2. Butcher's touch. Oh, and it might fall for the Yugoslavs. Vojovic. There's a chance here for Vojovic. Oh, and he's missed it.
Despite those scares, Gary...
Never an easy place to go. The state of the pitch not up to international standard. The crowd not exactly friendly. And Northern Ireland in their famous green shirts at the start of what Billy Bingham says could be a 2-year rebuilding programme. But after a tentative start, they began to find some cohesion. David Campbell, Nottingham Forest, who played against Brazil in the World Cup, setting up Jimmy Quinn of Blackburn Rovers. For the past 6 years, Northern Ireland have relied on the experience of a handful of seasoned internationals who provided the foundation for all they've achieved. Everything's relative in football. 2 successive World Cups for the Irish is equivalent to Argentina winning the tournament. But those names have gone now. Jennings, O'Neill, McIlroy, Armstrong, and it showed at times. But the likes of little David McCreary, John McClellan at the back, and the spirit of the Irish, oh, Billy Bingham hates that expression, made up for the absentees who've been pensioned off and their injured stars like Jimmy Nicholl and Norman Whiteside. And Bingham was full of praise for Pat Jennings' successor, Phil Hughes of Bury, a fingertip save in the closing stages.
Thanks, Elton. So that's how Group 4 looks after the day's events, with England looking very healthy there up at the top. And goal difference there, 5-4 and none against. And Northern Ireland there just one off the bottom with 1 point, alike with Turkey.
Early in the game, left-back Baljic launches a long ball that embarrasses Mark Wright. It takes a well-timed block by Chris Woods to stop Zlatko Vujovic, scorer of a hat-trick earlier in the season against Turkey. Midway through the half, England take the lead through Gary Mabbutt, and an excellent goal it is. Glenn Hoddle's corner, and Mabbutt takes off to meet it with a prodigious leap and a positive header. After a 3-year absence, Gary is back in the side to score his first England goal. It wasn't long before England almost fell in similar fashion. Bajic's header, but Steve Hodge on the line to clear. A performance with many encouraging aspects had its best spell early in the second half, culminating in a splendid move that creates Viv Anderson's goal. Glenn Hoddle, may be conscious of the challenge to show his full range of skills, chips the ball in for Hodge's header. Chris Waddle is free, and his near-post cross is perfect for Viv Anderson. Waddle again found the Wembley crowd unsympathetic, but crosses like this go some way to justify Bobby Robson's faith in him. 60,000 spectators appreciated England's attacking more than their defending. Zlatko Vujovic could have had another hat-trick if he finished as coolly as he had against Turkey. This is the kind of miss spectators can't believe possible, but when they turn out in their Sunday League games tomorrow morning, they may think differently. And just to demonstrate that professional practice doesn't make perfect, Vujovic misses another open goal. Worst moment of the night for England came 10 minutes from the end, and it's a complete accident as Glenn Hoddle and Steve Hodge collide. In slow motion, it almost looks like a choreographed comedy routine, but it's clearly no laughing matter as Hodge departs on a stretcher and Hoddle goes to have his cut head bandaged on the touchline. Against 10 men, Yugoslavia sense they may have a chance. Substitute Ray Wilkins heads away after the ball has hit a post. And still the chances fall, but they fall to Zlatko Vujovic, who must already be hankering for the flight back to France and club football for Bordeaux.
Two very important points for England over their principal Group 4 rivals, and keeping that clean sheet could also be important when the return takes place in Yugoslavia a year from now. Northern Ireland's draw in Turkey really wasn't enough to give them a good chance of winning the group and making those finals in West Germany in 1988.
Scotland's 3-0 win over a Luxembourg team that hasn't won an international for 14 years was mildly disappointing. And it was from a penalty following this foul on Pat Nevin after 23 minutes that Scotland got the first goal against the whipping boys of Group 7, who'd previously been crushed 6-0 by Belgium. David Cooper scoring from the spot. Just before half-time, the quality of Scotland's wing play was again decisive, with the nifty footwork of Nevin and the mercurial Cooper forcing defenders to contribute to their own disarray. 2 up at half-time, Scotland were assured of going top of Group 7, but they couldn't get the goals that would have produced a goal difference equal to that of Belgium, with Mo Johnston's header after 67 minutes their only other score.
3-0 and top of Group 7 looks healthy enough for the Scots, but Belgium are only a point behind, having played 1 game less, and they scored 6 against Luxembourg. Bulgaria and the Republic of Ireland are formidable opponents as well. Now a roundup of action elsewhere in Europe.
Spain's adventurous football produced a magnificent goal against Romania. Central defender Juan Carlos Arteche makes the break and Michel scores. And in spite of a missed penalty later, Spain kept intact their unbeaten record in Seville's Benito Villamarin Stadium. In Athens, Greece, in the dark strip, played Hungary in a Group 5 match. Veteran striker Nikos Anastopoulos, winning his 55th cap, sets up the first goal. Tassos Mitropoulos scores. And when you see the celebrations, you begin to suspect that the Greeks might be onto a few drachmas by way of a bonus. The second goal went a long way towards justifying a good payout. Saravakos does the initial damage, and Anastopoulos, who made the first goal, now shows a neat turn of skill to score the second. Only 15,000 spectators, but they turn it into quite a party. Maybe the defence started to celebrate too early, for when Hungary came back at them, they looked less than watertight. Boda takes advantage of the mistake, but it was 2-1 at the end. She makes the break, and Michel scores. And in spite of a missed penalty later, Spain kept intact their unbeaten record in Seville's Benito Villamarin Stadium. In Athens, Greece, in the dark strip, played Hungary in a Group 5 match. Veteran striker Nikos Anastopoulos, winning his 55th cap, sets up the first goal. Tassos Mitropoulos scores. And when you see the celebrations, you begin to suspect that the Greeks might be onto a few drachmas by way of a bonus. The second goal went a long way towards justifying a good payout. Saravakos does the initial damage, and Anastopoulos, who made the first goal, now shows a neat turn of skill to score the second. Only 15,000 spectators, but they turn it into quite a party. Maybe the defence started to celebrate too early, for when Hungary came back at them, they looked less than watertight. Boda takes advantage of the mistake, but it was 2-1 at the end.
In the opening qualifier against Romania, Michel scores the only goal.
Dalglish going for the near post. And Nevin somehow stopping the ball going over the line. And is that a penalty? It seems to me as though the linesman is indicating that it should be. And the number one penalty taker is Davy Cooper. No sentiment here for Kenny Dalglish with that record beckoning. To Nevin again. Johnson's gone to the near post, and Bossy lost it. Davy Cooper trying to walk it in, and he'll get the credit for the goal that went in off the defender. Goff, Johnston. So the crowd of 35,000 have a third goal to cheer.
Italy were at home to Switzerland in the first qualifying match. In the 3-2 victory, Altobelli scores a spectacular goal. A header from Serena, and Altobelli's acrobatics put Italy 2-1 ahead.
But 10 minutes later, Belgium allowed Petkov far too much room to measure his cross, and substitute Tanev connected perfectly with a flying header. 1-1, a useful result from Scotland's viewpoint.
He scores 2 superb goals against Malta. For the first, a cross from Dozena is volleyed home. For the second, a pass from Donadoni, the flick of a heel from Cabrini, and Altobelli does the rest. Italy did not find it so easy against Portugal in Lisbon. Again, Altobelli makes all the difference as he converts an opportunist cross from Giuseppe Bergomi. That goal arrives 5 minutes before half-time. The rest of the match sees the Italians defending desperately to hang on to the lead. They remain the masters of defensive technique and the packed penalty box.
Tichelen. Gullit de lucht in. En het is 0-1. U ziet het, ruim 19 minuten gespeeld. En de muur is geslecht, de band is gebroken. De vrije trap van Tichelen is al onderweg in deze herhaling. Gullit torent hoog boven iedereen uit. En hij zit goed in de kruising ook. Wouters. Van der Gijp. Gullit. Overname van der Gijp. Gullit, niet buitenspel. Varenburg is voor het doel en achterin. En dat is het doelpunt van Bosman. Minuten voor tijd vergroot Nederland eindelijk de marge. En het is Bosmans eerste interlanddoelpunt. Dus voor hem een extra feestje. We kijken naar de wordingsgeschiedenis van 0-2. Gullit niet buitenspel. Dat is duidelijk op de paas van Van der Gijp. In het centrum is Varenburg. Achterin is Johnny Bosman. Garitou is al kansloos en het is 0-2.
Nederland dus 5 punten uit 3 wedstrijden. Griekenland 4 uit 3. Polen 3 uit 2. En de beide andere 0. En belangrijk is het doelsaldo. Nederland heeft +3. En dat zou aan het eind van de rit wel eens de doorslag kunnen gaan geven.
Op rechts ruimte. Goed gezien. Veldels Wouters. Van der Gijp hier. Met Camacho. Los van Camacho weer. Goeie actie. Gullit, nu is het raak. Prima werk van René van der Gijp tot 2 keer aan doel. En een doelpunt nu wel van Ruud Gullit. Enkele minuten nadat het daar net niet doorging. Opnieuw een goede actie van René van der Gijp. Die Camacho uitspeelt. En dan is daar Ruud Gullit. En de goede kopbal is raak. Julio Alberto, Gordillo. Obstructie onderweg ten opzichte van Julio Alberto, maar Gordillo doet het heel goed. Calderé, doelpunt. Via Van Breukelen. Het is erg goed werk van Gordillo. De discussie speelt zich voornamelijk af tussen Varenburg en Van Breukelen. Gordillo zet daar 3 man... Ja, neemt 3 man in.